be for the refuah shelema of Chaya Sarah Bat Elzat, Rabbi Meir ben Ruchama, ולכל חולי עמו ישראל, אמן כן יהי רצונם. בעזרת השם רבותיי, before we start the shiur, I would like to say a few words about today and about what is happening actually today. Today, Rabotai, is the Ilula of one of the biggest tzaddikim that existed not in previous generations, but in our generation. What tzaddik am I speaking about? Rabbi Elazar Abuchatzira. Today, Rabotai, is the Ilula of Mamash, one of maybe the last links to the previous generations. Unfortunately, we lost him 5 or 6 years ago in a tragic death. He was actually murdered. And before we start, I would like to say something amazing that I found about Rabbi Elazar. We know Abotai that every single generation that exists, 10 tzaddikim are murdered as the 10 tzaddikim of Malchut. Asara Arugei Malchut. That every generation, 10 tzaddikim, they die, but in the name for Am Yisrael, to take away the din, to take away the judgment of Am Yisrael. What's amazing is that one of the Asara Arugei Malchut, the original ones, and amongst them there's Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Chaim ben Tardion, but one of them was named Rabbi Elazar. All that Asara Arugei Malchut, they all died in completely different deaths that were cruel. Rabbi Akiva, they killed him with brushes of metal. Rabbi Chaim ben Tardion, they burnt him alive. But the one Tana that is named Rabbi Elazar, how did they kill him? With a sword in his heart. When was it done? The Gemara says, Erev Shabbat. Baba Elazar, 6 or 7 years ago, when he passed away Erev Shabbat with a sword in his heart. So really, Rabotai, we can see that Rabbi Elazar Abuchatzira was not Stam Tzaddik. He was a part of a bigger picture. He was a part of a bigger mission that we don't even have the level to understand it. So with the merit of Rabbi Elazar Abuchatzira, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give all the Kahal, bracha and atzlacha, b'siyata deshmaya gdola, and may HaKadosh Baruch Hu fulfill all our hearts' wishes. Amen. We know, Rabotai, that right now, we are in the times we call Ben HaMetzarim. We do our shiur about Shacharit. We are going to do it, but before we start the shiur as usual, I would like to give a couple of minutes to explain a little bit of the importance of the weeks that we are in. So as we know, Abotai, we are in the 3 weeks of Ben HaMetzarim. Ben HaMetzarim were the 3 weeks that were the beginning and the end of the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. That on Shva Asar B'Tammuz, the walls of Yerushalayim were broken, and it took 21 days for the enemies to get to Kodesh or Kodashim. 21 days they were eating up Yerushalayim, but after the 21 days they destroyed the entire Yerushalayim and Bet HaMikdash. We know about that these 21 days, we take them as 21 days of sadness, 21 days of mourning, 21 days where we grieve over the destruction of Bet HaMikdash, which is good. Because we know that in order to bring Bet HaMikdash, we need to have the will to bring it back. Bet HaMikdash will not be built on its own. We need to feel the loss of Bet HaMikdash in order to bring it. But there is one mistake that a lot of people have. And what is this mistake? It's the mistake that they bring sadness, they bring mourning into the entire day of the 3 weeks of Ben HaMetzarim. Where they think that when I pray, when I do mitzvot, when I do limud Torah, in order to feel the sadness, I will bring the sadness to there too. That in my tefillah, I will cry, or in my tefillah, I will be sad, or I won't do my tefillah, I won't do my limud Torah with complete focus, with complete love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is a big mistake about that. Even in the 3 weeks of Ben HaMetzarim, we need to have koach, we need to have excitement, we need to pray with our hearts, not with our mouth and our head. You know, Abotai, Chazal gives us an analogy on what it's like to pray with sadness, or to study with sadness, or to do mitzvot with sadness in the 3 weeks of Ben HaMetzarim. Chazal say it's like a king. That this king was a big king, a respected king, a king with big wealth, a king that always treated his nation well, a king that everyone loved him. He always made sure to make everyone happy, and everyone made sure to make him happy. One day, this king, he got bad news. For whatever reason it could be. Maybe something happened in the kingdom, maybe a revolution, whatever it could be. He lost a big amount of money, and he was sad. All his servants see the king, that is usually always happy, now he's crying. They sat down and they said, how should we serve the king? Do we serve the king in a mourning mood when we're sad because we see the king is sad? Or should we serve the king with happiness or to cheer him up? Rabotai, what is the obvious answer? No, Rabotai. What is the obvious answer? To cheer him up. The king, throughout the entire year, he makes sure that we are happy throughout the entire year. He makes sure that everyone in his kingdom have what they need. The one time that the king is sad, we're not going to bring happiness into his life. That, Rabotai, is the 3 weeks of Yemeh Ben HaMetzarim. It's a little bit hard, Rabotai, to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sad, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not have the same emotion that we have. But it said, Rabotai, clearly, in Masechet Shabbat and in many other Masechtot, that when Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sat on his throne and he cried for the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not take the destruction lightheaded, easily. He sat there and he cried until it got to the point where it said that Malach Matetron came to him and told him, you, Ribono Shel Olam, you're crying over a building? And Malach Matetron tried to stop him from crying. The Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told that angel, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to go to a place where you can't follow. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu has sadness for the destruction of his house. In 3 weeks, where he has sadness, we need to do our best to bring him as much happiness as possible. To pray not like we pray throughout the year. To pray with extra happiness. To pray with extra koach. To pray with extra emotion. And by doing that, we can bring happiness to a king that is in a sad time. The Zohar Kadosh Rabotai says something that is scary about the 3 weeks of Yemeh Ben HaMetzarim. The Zohar Kadosh says that every single year, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, Melech Malcham Melachim, King of all kings, comes down to the world and searches for his home. And when he finds that his home is no longer existed, that he destroyed his home, the Zohar Kadosh says that he exiled himself for 3 weeks. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself leaves his throne and for 3 weeks walks around the world with sadness, with regret on the destruction of his home. You know, Rabotai, to give maybe another analogy, to teach you, Rabotai, how far our tefillot, how far our Torah, how far any effort we do to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets in these 3 weeks to sharpen this idea. You know, Rabotai, the Zohar Kadosh, it's very rare that he brings analogies. But when he brings analogies, there's a lot of secrets in them and we should mention them. The Zohar Kadosh says that, you know, it's like a king, another king, that left his house, left his palace in order to travel. And his plan was that he was going to travel for 2 days straight and he would not stop at any city. It was a long road. He wanted to get there fast. Night came, and with night, big winds started to come. The guards of the king, they started to hold on their post, make sure that the chariot, everyone stays safe. But the winds got too strong, to the point where all their light, all their fire got turned off, and they were left stranded in the middle of the forest. The Zohar said that the winds were so strong, 2 of the guards grabbed the king and ran out to the chariot. And where did they run? They ran in the middle of the forest where they can find cover. The wind started to calm down, and they realized that they're in the forest, 2 guards and a king. So right away, the guards said, we have to find a place where the king can sleep. So they start to search. And while they're searching, they see a light far, far away. So they said, you know what? We have enough time to get there. They run towards the light. But before they knocked at the door, they said, we have a problem. If we're going to go now and knock on the door, and they're going to see that we have the king with us, what if the man that lives in the house doesn't like the king? So we have no weapons, we have no protection, And we have a king in our hands. So we need to take off his royal clothes, and we have to say that we are people that are travelers. They took off his clothes, they made the king dirty, and they walked into the house. The man that lives there greeted them with big happiness. He told them, come sit down. He brought them a loaf of dry bread. That's what he had. And he gave them a pile of hay where they can sleep on. The two guards, they took the loaf of bread. The Baal Habayit, the owner, he broke the loaf to 3 pieces. The two guards, they took their piece, they gave it to the king. They took the hay that they had, they gave it to the king. They said, the king is the king, he needs to have all the bread that he can eat and as comfortable hay that he can have. The morning came, and the two guards returned to the palace with the king. When they returned to the palace, the king looked at those two guards, and he told them, for the good deed that you did, that you gave me your bread and you gave me your hay, I will give you all the wealth in the world. Now, Botai, if we look deeper into the story, what do we see? The two guards gave the king what? Dry bread and hay. If the king was to receive dry bread and hay from those two guards in the palace, would the king reward them? Maybe he would have them killed. But when the king is in exile, even the smallest gift, the smallest respect you pay the king, the reward is big. Rabotai, these 3 weeks, HaKadosh Baruch Hu leaves his palace. And when he leaves his palace, we have the chance to go to catch him, that every tefillah that we give, we can receive a sachar, a reward for it, which is unexplainable, unfathomable. You know, Rabotai, we call these 3 weeks Ben Amitzarim. What does Ben Amitzarim mean? Between the straits. What does that mean? To give an example, if I were to chase after somebody that is running through mountains, through curved streets, he can make a left, a right, I lost him. But if you take someone and you put him in a straight line and he has no exits to leave, just a matter of chasing him until you catch him. Where it said, Kol asher yirdefuah yisiguah ben hamitzarim. That anyone that chased after Bnei Israel at the generation of the destruction was able to catch them. But Abotai Arizal says that is not just applicable for the generation of the destruction. That is also applicable in our generation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That anyone that will go after HaKadosh Baruch Hu in these 3 weeks, he will go and he will achieve it. Arizal said that these 3 weeks are Ach Tov LeYisrael. What does Ach Tov LeYisrael mean? Ach, Aleph, Chaf. Aleph, Chaf in Gematria, Gematria, באנגלית. No, numerals. Ach, Aleph, Chaf in numerals. Numerology is 21. What is 21? The exact amount of days that are in the 3 weeks. 3 weeks is 21 days. Ach Tov LeYisrael. That these 3 weeks are 3 weeks, 21 days of pure bracha. Arizal continues, Abotai, to speak about something that will raise eyebrows, like we say. Arizal says that, then jumps to a completely different subject. He says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, He wanted to create the world in what sphira, in what strength? Din. That He wanted the world to be built on the base of judgment. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu was creating, He realized that the world is not able to hold itself when the base of judgment. Because the judgment says, Bnei Israel, Jew people are going to sin, why should I create the world? Why should I keep the world standing? So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Arizal says, before Rosh Hashanah, He gave the world 72 days of kindness. Why 72 days? Kiminyan Chesed. Chesed in numerology is 72. So 72 days before the creation of the world, Hashem sent kindness to the world. Arizal asks, if you do the account, 72 days before Rosh Hashanah, when the world was created, you'll see that when do we start counting these 72 days? Shva Asar B'Tammuz. That Shva Asar B'Tammuz is the start of the 72 days of pure kindness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world with. Does that make sense? No. So Arizal says, 21 of those days are pure kindness which is hidden. 21 days are pure kindness which is nistar. The 51 other days, they're pure kindness which is galui, which is present. That if a person is able to connect himself to the chesed that exists, the chesed that is hidden in the world in these 3 weeks, he can achieve an abundance of blessings. I would like Rabbi to say one more thing, and then I'm going to finish regarding 3 weeks, and we're going to go back to our subject. We know, Rabbi, that in 2 places it said, Ach Tov Le'Yisrael. In 2 places it said that there are 3 weeks which are pure kindness for Bnei Yisrael. Pure weeks of bracha. First one, these 3 weeks, Ben HaMetzarim, from Shvat Tammuz till Tisha B'Av. And the second one is what? From Rosh Hashanah until Shmini Atzeret. 2 times where Chazal say 21 days of pure kindness. 21 plus 21 is how much? 42. About this parasha, this week's parasha is Parashat Masai. Parashat Masai speaks about the journeys that Bnei Yisrael went through in the desert. How many journeys did they do? 42. Abotai, we can learn something big. In these 42 days, which are Ben HaMetzarim, and between Rosh Hashanah and Shmini Atzeret, are 42 days that in a short period of time, a person can go a long journey. That in one day a person could achieve what he cannot achieve in an entire year. That the journey that a person can do in one day, he is not able to achieve maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years. It's the entire journey. Abotai, these are days with big strength. These are days with big segulot to connect yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One who will be able to connect himself with HaKadosh Baruch Hu will receive abundance of blessings. Amen. Abotai, now we're going to continue Be'ezrat Hashem with our shiur. Last 2 shiurim we've been doing introductions for Shacharit, introductions for the big tefillah, the big avodah that we do at the beginning of the day. Today we're going to start Be'ezrat Hashem. But we're not going to start from the actual tefillah of Shacharit. We're going to start from the first things we do in the morning. And what is that, Rabotai? Modeh. Rabotai, what is the concept of Modeh? The concept, Rabotai, of Modeh is something that is very simple. At night, before we went to sleep, what did we do? Shema Yisrael and Be'yadecha Afkid Ruchi. When we go to sleep, we take our neshama and we put our neshama in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Magically, miracle, the next morning, we wake up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to return our neshama to the place where he took it. And like anything in life, when you receive something as a gift, it's a miracle. What do? You think. Whenever you receive something that is big, a big gift, a big miracle, something that is with big value, you say thank you. It's minimum. The problem starts when we get used to something so much, when we don't see it as a big gift. The problem starts is when we get used to a blessing that is such a big blessing, and we take it for granted, when we start to lose its value, and we don't see it as important to say thank you for it anymore. Now, Abotai, there was a story my father told me today, which is mamash, a beautiful story. I would like to say it short. And this, Abotai, teaches us that when we get used to even the most important things in our life, it can use its value. My father said that one day there were 2 friends. That one friend was a tzaddik, one friend was Baal Midot, Baal Torah, Baal Mitzvot. Be'emet, a good person. And this man was always happy. He always had joy in his neshama. The other friend was upset. Always upset. The friend that was upset always has a frown, always looking for the negativity, looks at his other friend and he's always happy. He says, I need to know the secret. What's the secret that keeps himself so happy? So he went to his friend. The friend that is always happy, he said, I can't tell you. It's my secret, I'm keeping it only for myself. He said, come on, I'm your best friend. Please tell it to me. He said, I refuse. And he repeated and repeated and repeated and asked him. And every time he asked him, he said, I'm not telling. One day, he said, please, I've been asking you already for years. Tell me what is your secret that you're happy. He said, you want to know my secret? No problem. Come to my house and bring a bucket. He said, okay. He's going to tell me maybe a secret of Kabbalah, maybe a bucket, water. Let's see. Brings him a bucket. The friend that is happy fills it up with water. He says, come close to the bucket of water. The happy friend grabs his head and sticks it in the bucket. And he holds his head down. And the man that is always upset, 1 minute he's choking and he's drowning, and the other one holding him in the bucket. After 2 or 3 minutes, the man gets out of the bucket. He's able to breathe. He said, what did you do? You tried to kill me? That is your secret? You're trying to murder me? So he said, no, I wasn't trying to murder you, but now I have a question for you. Tell me the one thing that you were praying for and you wanted most when your head was under the bucket. So what did he say? I wanted air. That's all I was thinking. I just wanted air. I was praying, Hashem, give me air. I said, now you have air. Be happy with it. Be thankful. Show gratitude that now you have air. The problem starts up when we take away the things that we are used to. Only then we see what a gift it is. That we get used to things that are so important that we lose its value. We start to take them for granted. You know, Abotai, we see in life that, especially in this generation, the biggest problem that people have is that they are unhappy. They are unhappy. Why? It's very hard to find people that are genuinely happy today. You know, Abotai, we see in our lives, from the beginning of our lives when we're kids till we get older, our nature is to put goals for ourselves, that these goals will be the presentation, the symbol of happiness. So a person gets up, he says, when I will reach $1 million, then I will be happy. He gets up, works, not happy at all, gets to that goal, receives the $1 million, then what does he say? No, I'm not happy, maybe I need 2. Receives 2, he wants 4. Receives 4, he wants 8. And he's never happy, he's never got to the point where he's satisfied from anything. Why is that? The Gemara even says, a person does not die, there's no such thing that a person that dies and he has more than half of his desire in his hands. That always when he has 1, he wants 2. That he always only has half of his desire in his hands. Why is that our nature? How can we change that? Why is it our nature always to look for more and more and more and more and more? Why is that? So the answer is simple. We know that our body, sometimes it needs things. Sometimes a body is missing a specific vitamin. When we are thirsty, what do we feel? We feel thirst. So we go and we drink. When we are hungry, what do we feel? We feel hungry, so we go and eat. But what happens, Abotai, when our neshama is hungry? And we're too blocked in our brain, we have too much klipot, too much layers of impurity that cover our brain, which we're not even able to get the clear message of our neshama. That our neshama is starving for some spirituality. What happens in a situation like that? What comes to a person? What type of a feeling comes to a person when his neshama is not able to have direct contact with him, but the neshama is hungry? You know what we receive from that, Abotai? We feel the feeling of unsatisfied. The neshama is hungry, it's trying to tell us, feed me. And we're not able to get the clear message that the neshama is begging to receive some food. So what do? We try to give ourselves goals where we think that goal will satisfy us. And when we reach that goal, we see that goal no longer satisfies us. Because that was not the reason that we had that hunger from the first place. If we are able to feed the hunger that our neshama gives us, if we're able to satisfy our neshama, we will no longer have this feeling of always chasing after something else. We will get to a point of satisfaction. Why is it that tzaddikim, they're made the same way of us? Tzaddikim are born the same way, they grow up the same way, everything is the same. Why is it that a tzaddik is happy with a piece of bread? And a Rasha is not happy with anything. Because a tzaddik gets the feeling of satisfaction from other places. He knows what meaning is. And if a person is able to get to that point of meaning, he will be able to lose that midah of always running after from one thing to another, and finally have a moment where he will be happy because he is satisfied. That, Rabotai, is something that is very important. In the morning, the first thing we do is we do Modeh Ani as the first thing. It's even said that when we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this is what we're going to speak about in a moment, when we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not just thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's bringing Hashem into everything we do in our lives. Because if you thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything that you receive, you also put the fact as clear that He is the one that gave it. And that, Rabotai, is something that is very big. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the koach to always reach that point where we will be happy and we will reach to a level of satisfaction. Now, Rabotai, we did Modani. Modani was short. Usually we do every bracha, every mitzvah, entire shiur. Modani was short, Baruch Hashem. Now, it's the moment before any bracha. We did Modani. There is no name of Hashem in any bracha and Modani. Is there? Who wants to check? Everyone is sure that there's no Modani, there's no name of Hashem in Modani? Okay. So now the first bracha that we do. You know, Rabotai, there's a big, important thing that we all do it, but none of us understand the meaning for it. And we repeat it and repeat it and repeat, but I don't remember anyone that asked why. And that, Rabotai, is what we're going to speak about today. And we're going to give, Rabotai, everyone here a lesson for life and hold on to it for life, because the reward will be uncountable. Okay, Rabotai. I want you to read the bracha with me. And after I read the bracha, I want everyone to see if there was a mistake done. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam She'akol Niya B'Dvaro. Rabotai, was there a mistake? Is there any questions regarding the bracha that I did? Is there any questions? Did I do something strange? Did I do? No, I wasn't fast. Did I do anything strange? No, nothing strange. So it shows you how blind we are. Baruch Ata. What's the second word? Third word? Hashem. It doesn't say Adoshem there. It says Havaya. Yud, K, Vav, K. But what do we pronounce it? Ado. Don't say it. Adoshem. Why is that? Did anyone ask why we read Adoshem where it says Yud, K, Vav, K? We learned that it says, the word we don't mention. We say a different word, but what amazed me today is people that learn English for Hebrew for the first time, they read Adoshem and it says Havaya. They read the Dalet, the Shin, they read Mamash different, a completely different word when it says Yud, K, Vav, K. So what is that concept, Rabotai? That it said Yud, K, Vav, K, and we mention another word. That, Rabotai, what we're going to teach now, is something that needs to apply on every bracha that we do, on any time we mention the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We know, Rabotai, there is two types of names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this, Rabotai, will apply for any bracha, before Asher Yatzar, before Netilat Yadayim, before anything. A person needs already to know this entire class by heart. We know that there are two types of names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One name is Galui, revealed, that we read it and we can say it, which that is Ado Shem. It's called the name of this world. That it's a name that is revealed, we see it, we read it, we say it. That name represents the leadership, the kingdomship of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. The second name of Hashem is the hidden one, Nistar, which is Yud K, Vav K. Why is it hidden? Even when we see it, we can't mention the full name. We spell it, instead of saying hey, we say K. It's the name that represents the kingdomship, the leadership of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not in this world, but where? Olam Haba, upstairs. Rabotai, you know, when we have these two names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now in the situation where the world is at, both of the names are separate. They are spread out. One controls this world, which was Asiyah Gashmit that fell down. Now, we will repeat this. 4 worlds. Atzilut, Biriya, Yetzirah, Asiyah, spiritual, Asiyah, physical, material. That the Asiyah, physical, broke apart and now it became like its own world. The name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Adoshem, is split from the kingdomship of Hashem, of Havaya, of Yud Kei Vav Kei. That they are no longer together. But what is our job in bringing back the Tikkun? What is our job of bringing back the Mashiach, of bringing the world to its original state, where man is born and does not die, where Kadosh Baruch Hu is amongst us? What is that? Returning both worlds together. How do we return both worlds together? By connecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingdomship in both worlds. That when a person does a bracha, he needs to have in mind not one of the kingdomships, not one of the rulerships of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but both of them. That when we say Adoshem, we have to have in mind Havaya. That both of those names need to be in front of us at every bracha that we do. Because when we do that, we repair the world. We bring both pieces closer together. We greaten HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingdomship in both worlds. We vast HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingdomship in both worlds. By doing that, Rabotai, we receive reward which is incomparable. The Zohar Kadosh, Parashat Bereshit, at page Mem Hei Amud Bet, says something incredible. The Zohar Kadosh says that Rabbi Shimon got up and said a divrei Torah on those who bring the world back to Tikkun, on those who repair both the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu together, which we call it, and this is a word about it I'm going to start using from now in the shiur, yichud. What is yichud? What is yichud? Taking two things and putting them together. People, when they get married, they do yichud. They go in the Ashkenaz, they go into a room, they lock the room in order to do yichud. As Faradim, we do later. Yichud is two things brought together. So the Zohar Kadosh was talking about those who do yichud with the names of Hashem. Those who bring both worlds together of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, people that do that, Ashrav v'asher chelko. Praise that man, bless that man, but also the reward that he has is unimaginable. The Zohar Kadosh says that when one is able to do that, he receives love not only from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but from all Malachei Asharet. That all Malachei Asharet, all the angels of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, receive blessings when the world come together. That all the angels receive life when both worlds come together. The Zohar says that not only that you will be loved by HaKadosh Baruch Hu and loved by all the angels, but you will be loved by all the people that are in the world. Why is that, we ask? Because Zohar Kadosh says that when one does that, when one brings both of the worlds beichud, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down himself and he plants seeds of love and all the people that are around that person. That all the people that are around that person will suddenly have a deep love for that man. Why? They don't know. He's a tzaddik. He brings me closer. I get attracted. I want to come to him. That, Rabotai, is just a part of the gift. The Zohar says that every single day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets up and announces, Machriz, that Kol HaOlamot Omdim B'zchut Ploni Ben Ploni. That all the worlds stand in the merit of that man. Because he brings life to all the worlds. It's said that if a person like that sits down and HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes a judgment and he closes a judgment, that man has the power, one person, to stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to cancel the judgment. Hashem gozer and hu mevatel. Hashem makes judgment and he cancels it. And he has the power to cancel it. The Zohar says, not Chas v'Shalom, that he goes against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, fighting HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chas v'Shalom. It's that even the din, even the strength of din, the power, the source of judgment, din is judgment, has akarat hatov. Even the din has love for this man. That even the judgment says, how can I hurt this man that gave me life? Because even the strength of din receives life from a man that does the ichud. So the din, the judgment, says, I cannot come on this man. If this man is involved, I take a step back. The Zohar says that, of course, when a man that does such a reparation, Rabotai, it's not something small. When we do this, we bring the tikkun, we bring the geulah. A person that is bringing such fast steps of the geulah is loved by all the good ones, but also hated by who? By all the bad ones, because this man is repairing the world. So the Zohar Kadosh Rabotai says something scary. It says that when the Sitra Cha'ah, when the Satan sees that this man is bringing such glory to the world, he looks down to his army, because we know he has mamash an army, and he says, send all the judgment that we have, fight that guy. Drop all the judgment in the world on that man. And the Satan sends all the judgment. But now, this man is about to get hit by judgment. And who sees that he's about to get hit by judgment? All Malachei Hasharet, all the angels of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The angels of HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, wait, our friend, the one that we love, is about to be attacked because he's giving us blessings, because he's repairing the world. We must send all our judgment to fight the judgment of the bad. That the Kedusha sends all its judgment and the Tum'ah sends all its judgment, and both judgments fight a war. The Zohar says that those wars, not one drop of judgment is left. That what is the person doing essentially when he does yichud? He gets rid of all the judgment in the world. That no judgment exists. The good judgment goes to fight the bad judgment, the bad judgment goes to fight the good judgment, and they all get erased. And that's why the Zohar Kadosh says that man brings life to the entire world, because he erases judgment in the world. The Zohar Kadosh, in the same Parasha, in page Mem Aleph, Amud Aleph, there it says that when a person is doing the yichud, it's not just metaphorically. That you say, yichud, bring both things together. The Zohar says that he actually takes chains and he takes ropes and he's tying both worlds together. That he is tying the kingdomship of HaKadosh Baruch Hu mamash into one piece. And when the kingdomship comes into one piece, what happens to him? The Zohar Kadosh says that any time that man prays, any time that man does a tefillah, asks HaKadosh Baruch Hu for something, when his prayer goes up, what happens? Malachei Hasharet see that man that gives them blessings sent up another prayer. What do those angels do? They say, if that man put in this prayer what he put in the previous ones, then we need to make sure this prayer gets heard. The Zohar Kadosh says that the angels, they go to the windows, and the Zohar uses the word windows, not gates this time. They go to the windows which are locked, the windows which are sealed, the windows which are hidden, and they smash on the windows to create openings for the prayers to go in. And if that doesn't work, they go to the gates and they bang on the gates of tefillah to open up all the gates of prayer to make sure that that prayer gets heard. Because that man is giving them life. Abotai, the concept of doing the yichud of both names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, its value is priceless. And this, Abotai, is one more thing, especially that Baruch Hashem, we see a lot of young people, a lot of single people. There's a big segula. What's a big segula? Big virtue that we can all take, especially the ones that are single. Zohar Kadosh says in Tikkunei Zohar, not in Bereshit, that when a person, what did we call putting both names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu together? Yichud, bringing two pieces that belong to each other close together. The Zohar Kadosh says that if you do yichud for the both worlds, the both kingdomships of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Malachei Hasharet will not forget you. and they will not forget the deed that you did. And when the time comes for you to find your second half, your zivug, Malachi Asharet will do everything in their power to bring your zivug to you. That the same way that you bring both worlds together, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make sure that both of your pieces come together. Midah keneged midah. A deed for a deed. Rabotai, from now on, any bracha that we do, it could be shakol, it could be ha'etz, it could be asher yatzar, it could be nitilat lulav, it could be laniach tefillin. We must have in our head, always in front of us when we say the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, both of them flat out. Yud Kei Vav Kei Adoshem. And when we say the bracha, and we have in mind both of the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we bring back the world and we are able to tap into that big koach and receive a big blessing for that. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rabotai, bless us all. We will all be a part of this yichud. We will all be a part of bringing the worlds together. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if we do a good job, Rabotai, this Tisha B'Av will not be a sad day, but will be a day of celebration. So may the merit of Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Elazar Abuchatzira, and the merit of all tzaddikim of Rabbi Pinto, Rabbi Moshe Pinto, protect us all and give us big b'siyata d'shmaya in everything we do today. Amen.